Okay, good morning, everybody. As we go to the Chitas of today, we're holding the portion of Balaischa. Today is Monday. Today's Monday? No, today's Tuesday. Today's Tuesday, the third reading. The portion we're holding on chapter 9, verse number 1. God spoke to Moshe in the desert of Sinai. Hashanah Shenis in the second year. When they went from the time they left out of Egypt. Chodesh Adishim, in the first month, Lamer. Rashi says, the first month, the passage at the beginning of this book, the month was not said until the month of Iyar. Second month. So here, the Torah goes back to the first month. So in here we learn there's no chronological order in the Torah. And there's not always a chronological order, because the Torah over here, the book of Bamidbar starts in the second month there. Now the Torah goes back to the first month. Why does the book of Numbers not begin with this subject? It should have started over here. Because this is the first month. Because it involves the matters embarrassing Jewish people. Namely, during the 400 years in the desert, they only offered up this one Passover sacrifice. This is a very interesting subject on its own. For some reason, Jewish people did not do the Korban Pesach, only this one. The other things that the Jews didn't do, it's interesting in the desert, and why? Yasmin also Pesach. It's embarrassing a little bit, the question is even Moshe Rabbeinu was there. Yasmin also Pesach, the Jewish people bring up the Passover sacrifice at an appointed time. She says, what does it mean in its time? Come to tell us, even on Shabbos, it's appointed time, even if most of the community are defiled. At the time, due to contact, that all came Tamil and mess. Nevertheless, they had to bring. They brought the Korban Pesach, and a rule Tuma Hutra B'Tzibur, that the impurity is pushed off when it comes to a community. On the 14th of this month, in the afternoon, you should do it in its time, the Pesach. According to all its laws, according to its decrees, according to all its laws, you should do it. Rashi says these are the commandments that apply to the Passover sacrifice itself, meaning that it's an unblemished male lamb or kid for the first year. They have to bring it. That's a chukkah. The inal it's not to be blemished. These are the ordinance of the. These are the in accordance with all its ordinance. These are the commandments that apply to the Passover sacrifice distinctly, such as the 7 days one must eat matzahs, and one must not remove. One must remove all leaven. So each way, the commandments of the sacrifice and the commandments of the Passover chametz and matzah. Verse number 4, Moshe Rabbeinu spoke to the Jewish people last Pesach that they should do the Pesach. She said, Matan Alema. What does Torah want to tell us here? Doesn't really say Moshe told the Israelites the laws of God appointed holy days. Only said in order to tell us that when he heard the passage regarding the festival at Sinai, he told it to them. And he repeated the instruction for each festival when it's time to perform this law. That's why it's a custom that before Pesach, before Shavuos, and before Sukkot, you should learn, especially before Pesach and Sukkot, you should learn the laws of the holiday. So Moshe Rabbeinu, even though he already told them these laws, now it came before Pesach, he sat down and learned them the laws of Pesach. Yes, it's a Pesach. They offered off the Pesach B'Rishon. In the first month, in the 14th day, in the middle of the afternoon, Bamidbar Sinai, in the desert of Sinai. That was the only time they did this in the desert. Whatever Moshe Rabbeinu told the Jews, that's what they did. And they did the Pesach once time in their history. Ultimately, they all died. The desert means they did the Pesach one time, besides the Mitzrayim. Yeah, but there were certain people that were impure to a dead body. They couldn't do the Korban Pesach. On that day, that it came before Moshe, they came before Moshe on that day by Yemo. Now she says, what is the meaning of that? They came before Moshe Aaron. Now she says, that there was a house of study in the desert. It was a Beis HaMedrash. It was a big learning place. What was Moshe and Aaron doing? They were sitting and learning. They came and they asked them. It's not possible to say that they came one after the other, where Moshe didn't know from where Aaron know. So we know that they were sitting there together. Moshe and Aaron were sitting in the Beis HaMedrash. They were sitting and learning. And these people came to the Beis HaMedrash. And these Moses men told him, we are the fall to a dead body. We touched a person that was dead. Here comes the Korban. So now, how are we going to bring the Korban Pesach? We're going to lose this mitzvah, right? It was a one time in history that they did it. So he said, why are we going to lose for this? The Moeday, Terbinei Yisrael. She says, they came to Moshe Rabbeinu. He told them, what do you mean? What did I do? You're impure. What can I do for you? Sacrifice may not be brought with people of the Father. You're tummy. You're nothing. What did you do? Can't help you in this situation. They said to him, let the blood be dashed on the altar by undefiled priests on our behalf. Let someone else bring it for us. And the flesh be eaten by others undefiled. So let's make it believe. Let other people do it. They'll come on shluchim. He answered them, you know what? Wait, and I'll hear like a student assured hearing from the teacher. Fortune is the one born of a woman who is assured that whenever he wishes, he can speak to divine presence. This passage was fitting to have been said by Moshe, just like the rest of the Torah. These individuals merit that it was said as a result of their request. Lama Nigara. Jewish people, this is a mitzvah in the Torah, Pesach Sheni. But it was merited. This is where you learn the Chassidus, Asur Tata. Things have to come, even though this is part of the Torah. Pesach Sheni is one of the 630 commandments in the Torah. But nevertheless, it was brought out through these people. It was on their merit that this passion was said. Because the merit is brought about through those who are worthy. They were worthy that this mitzvah should be revealed through their desire. Lama Nigara, why do we have to lose? Okay, wait. I'll go make a phone call. I'll go to the base of I'll go to the Mishkan and I'll talk to the Eibush. God spoke to Moshe saying, Israel, speak to the Jewish people. Ish, any man, if it'll happen that Pesach will come and he'll be impure, or he'll be in a distance, he won't be able to come to the base of Midrash. Also Pesach Hashem, and he wants to make the Korban Pesach. He wants to bring a Korban Pesach. Now she says, you look at the word derech rechayka, you'll see that it's look at it is a dot on the hay of rechayka. See that dot? There's a dot right there in the book itself. There's a dot. So what is the dot? Rechayka, to tell us that it doesn't have to be so distant that it absolutely prevents him from offering the Korban. The Gemara says, rather, it means that he's outside the threshold of the courtyard during the entire time of the slaughter. For whatever reason, he couldn't get into the Beis HaMikdash. He broke his leg right in front of the Beis HaMikdash. He couldn't get in there. And now he missed the Korban. The Korban Pesach was from the 14th by the afternoon till the evening. That's it. So now he didn't bring it. So he was not too far away. He was pretty close, actually. But for whatever reason, he couldn't get he didn't go into the Beis HaMikdash. One may have so the entire slaughtering. When bringing the second Passover, one may have both matzah and leaven with them in this house, as it's not the festival per se. 11 is only prohibited to eat together with eating the Passover sacrifice itself. So even the Pesach Sheni, the guy wouldn't eat the chametz with the Pesach, but he can eat the korban Pesach and bring the korban, then go eat bread because it's not Pesach. Chodesh Hasheni, therefore, in the second month of Elul. Arba Asim the Chodesh, the 14th day of the month of not the month of year, 14th day of the month of year. Ben Abar in the afternoon. Yasu Esai, they should bring the korban al matzis u'reimei chlua. They should eat it together with bitter herds and with matzah. This is the law of Pesach Sheni, the second Passover. Yeshila Yashida Menad Baker, you shouldn't leave it over until the morning. Like all the laws of the Pesach. You're not break any bones. Whatever the laws of the first Pesach is Pesach Sheni. If a person was richly undefiled and he was not in the way, he was living he was like there, and he decided, you know what, I'm not interested this year. I am not going to bring the korban Pesach. That person will be cut off in the Jewish nation. Korban Hashem lehikiv b'moyda. He didn't bring the korban in its time. Cheta yisay ishahu. That person carries his sin. It's one of the mitzvahs that every Jew does. Pesach, because there's this negative connotation, chas shalom, that they're going to have be cut off in the Jewish nation. Same thing like Milah. It says if a person doesn't circumcise himself, they're going to be cut off from the Jewish nation. There dwells within you a convert. Also Pesach Hashem. And he wants to bring, he's a Yid. And he's a Yid and he wants to bring the korban Pesach. He should bring the korban like any other Jew. This law of Pesach is one law to you. To a convert, as a it's native citizens of the land. What is it going to teach us that a ger brings a korban Pesach? It comes to teach us that Rashi says if a convert dwells within you, and he must offer the Pesach sacrifice. From these words alone, I might think that whenever a convert must offer Passover sacrifice immediately upon converting. Therefore, the Torah states one rule applies to all of you. Rather than what one would have otherwise supposed. This is the meaning of the phrase, if a convert dwells with you, and the time comes to offer the Passover sacrifice with his fellow Jew, he must offer according to the rules. You can't say, you know what, I didn't bring a korban Pesach last 50 years. Now I converted, let me go bring the korban Pesach. No, he brings it in the old time, in the regular time. Also teaches us a convert. How can a convert say that his family went out of Mitzrayim? If he just converted, then his family didn't go out of Mitzrayim. His family comes from the non-Jewish nation. So, nevertheless, a convert still celebrates Pesach, and he celebrates the concept of going out of Mitzrayim, even though his history, his lineage didn't go out of Mitzrayim. It's another thing that we learn from the Torah. And that ends the Chumash for today. Okay, let's go to the Tanya of the day. Okay, we're still holding in the 4th chapter of Shar HaYichud Ve'emunut. Alter Rebbe is explaining the concept of tzimtzum, this contraction, aspect of what Chassidus teaches us, the concept of an oir and kli. There's an oir and a vessel. Kishemesh u'mogin Hashem Elikim. That does the name of Yud Kei Vav Kei, which is Agdula, has to come into the Kli, Elikim, the name of Gevura, the vessel, and that gives a capability for the world to handle the Oiravaya. Because it's with Samson there for the capacity of the Nivra, of the created, so that the created can receive its energy and not be bottled and not be nullified by the oil, because the oil is so big that it's even whatever oil can come into a vessel, like the neshama comes into my body. Well, the neshama would be nullify the body. The neshama is such a godly power. The body is such a physical, corporal thing. we should realize how you talk in the body is so powerful to overcome the neshama, because the body also comes from the Eibishter. Just like the neshama comes from God, the body also comes from God. They were both created by God. And since they were both created by God, Chesed and Gevurah were both created God, they're both doing God's mission. So just like we ask for the human being to be bottled, to nullify himself to the will of HaKadosh, surely the attributes nullify themselves to the will of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, even though they're opposites. Because they both are in a mission by God. They don't have a personal mission. They say, "Oh, I'm gonna outrun you." No, we're both in the mission of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and therefore we both do that. We want to do what God wants us to do, and therefore we accomplish this thing mission together, even though we're opposites. That's the beauty of this concept, and that's why one doesn't nullify the other. Because what would they gain? They would lose the mission that they were created for. And therefore, nobody wants to lose the mission, the battle to Eibush in his mission in this world. This Tzimtzum concealing of the life force is called, in Kabbalistic terminology, it's called Kalim, vessels. The life force itself, is called Ur. That's the names we give it. Ur and Keli, light and vessel. Just like the vessel. It covers what's in it. So too, Tzimtzum covers and conceals the light, and the life force that flows through it into created beings. And this Tzimtzum makes it impossible for them to perceive that godliness that is vested within. Kalim, the Kalim are the letters of the 10 utterances of Sodom and Mores, Nivra Ilam, through the letters of the Torah, who created the world. That is the vessel. That is actually the vessel of this earth. We know it's Kabbalah. All these letters are rooted in the 5 letters. Menatzbach. Menatzbach is the 5 final letters in the Hebrew alphabet. We have a mem, final mem, nun, final nun, tzaddik, final tzaddik, fei, final fei, chaf. These 5 letters. Why do you need to have 5? Why do you need to have final letters? Why can't the final letter be like the regular letter? Why do we have this interesting concept of final letters? So Kabbalah says that these final letters are the root, are the concept of the closing in of the final, the packaging, so to say, of the word. Have these 5 final letters. There's fine gadol. It's also expression of fine gadol. We've mentioned before that. Look at the Alter Rebbe says himself. These are the 5 represented 5 degrees of Gevurah, the 5 restraining forces, the 5 articulations of the mouth. The mouth is divided into 5 different concepts that takes the hevel, that takes the breath of a person, and it brings out the word. So you have these 5 concepts: the lips, the teeth, the palate, the tongue. All these things create this that my hevel, that my breath, that is really the words, should come into these 5 closing things, and now it creates a word, Baruch Hashem. I can say the word. I can say actually the word. And the separates the breath, the voice of 5 organs of speech, thus enabling 22 letters to be formed, and that is expressed. Kabbalah, I don't know exactly how it works, these 5 letters, but those 5 letters represent the 5 organs of the mouth, so to say. Just like 5 physical organs of speech divide sound in the letters into 5 separate categories, which is also, that's how the Hebrew alphabet is divided into 5 separate categories. That's why you can take the Hebrew alphabet. One of the ways of the interposing of letters is you take the Hebrew alphabet and you divide it into five things, because all these 22 letters are, some of them are guttural, some of them are breath, more breath letters, some of them are more teeth letters, some of them are lip letters. So you can divide all these letters, you can divide the 22 letters into 5 different categories because they come in essence from these 5 concepts. But that means that these 5 concepts are limiting the breath. The breath is a breath. Has no, it's like a letter hey. Letter hey is like the breath. Sure, is a Gevura is saying Butzna de Kadina. The Zohar says the source of these 5 levels of Gevura is termed in Kabbalah Butzna de Kadnisa, which in Aramaic means light from darkness. The darkness being the level of concealment that transcends the light. So the darkness, no darkness by Kodesh Baruch Hu. Yesh, like you say, Yesh me'ayin. You're calling the Eibush ayin. God is ayin and we're Yesh. The Eibush is real Yesh. But we say Yesh me'ayin. What means ayin? Ayin means that it's something we cannot comprehend. So this is the same thing. The Baruch Hashem, the Eibush, God makes sure that these 5 concepts are well healthy, and now we can talk. God forbid, if we can't talk, that means something is wrong in one of the 5 concepts within my mouth. So this Gevura, so that's, ultimately we see that this Gevura, this severity, this vessel gives light. Without the vessel, you wouldn't have the light. So that's why you shouldn't look at the vessel as something that that's condensing, something that contracts. Actually, thank God that they contract, because without the contraction, you don't have light. Without speech, nobody would know when somebody else is talking. So thank God he's healthy and he can talk, because without him, even though talk is limiting the person in comparison to the capacity to talk and in comparison to his breath, but Baruch Hashem, that he can contract himself and he can talk. And now he reveals himself. So this contraction is revelation. That's what the Rebbe wants to bring out. Ultimately, you have to realize that both Ur and Kli are both revelation. One is revealed through this revelation, and one is revealed through this contraction. She Gevura Ilah, that is the supernal level of severity of Atikemim, ancient days, spiritual level of Kesser. So Atikemim, Kabbalah, is the concept of higher than Chacham. Atikemim is ancient days. Kesser transcends all the world, including Atzilus. That's why again, now the Rebbe says, Gevura that comes onto the world is higher than Chesed. Higher, so darkness is higher. That's why we have in the creation of the world, first came night. First came a concept of light that cannot be revealed, and then came light. Then came Boker. Then comes day. A light that could be revealed. And without the Erev, you don't have Boker. That's why by us we go Erev to Boker. The day starts with Erev, because what brings out the day is the Erev. What brings out the morning is the night. And then in Chassidus, night is Gevura and day is Chesed. So Chesed comes from Gevura, real Chesed, concept, real revelation. We learned in Tanya, the greatness of light that comes from darkness. Because darkness is light. Sometimes if you just have light that doesn't come from the concept of Gevura, it's not a light that another person can handle. So it has to. You got to contract yourself so that another person can handle the oil that you're going to give him. So too, the corresponding source of various levels of divine kindness comes from Chesed of Atikim. That the really Chesed comes from Gevura, real Chesed. You have Chesed in a revealed way. You have Chesed that cannot be revealed. Such a Chesed that's so high. Comes from the place higher than even Chachma, comes from the concept of Kesed, it comes from a place that's hard for the world to even comprehend this Chesed, because it comes from a very deep place. You do the Chain that is known to those who learn Chassidus, to those who learn Kabbalah. So since in the letters on one hand, and the revelation of the divine light and life force on the other hand, both emanate from Atikemim, so therefore according to Kabbalah, both of them come from a very high place. Both of them come from Atik, from Kesed, which is the Ratzin of the Eibishter, higher than the concept of even wisdom. Comes from the Ratzin of the Eibishter. That's what the Eibishter wanted. God wanted for the world both Chesed and Gevura, because the Eibishter understood. God, if real Chesed is that you don't give chesed but to another person. So you have to, therefore, to give chesed to another person, you have to be able to contract yourself that you make sure you're giving it to that person. And that person can handle the chesed. And that person will gain something out of this kindness. So it follows that tzimtzum does not affect an objective concealment as viewed from the common source above. For as previously explained, no entity conceals itself from itself. So the Eibush is not hiding. The Eibush actually reveals himself through Gevurah. God reveals himself through this concept. He doesn't hide through this concept. He reveals himself through this concept. And as we think about it, it's Baruch Hashem that the Eibush reveals himself through this concept, so that we can all enjoy the chesed of HaKadosh Baruch, the kindness of God. This symptom affects, and is only felt by created beings, who because of this concealment is unable to perceive the divine life force that constantly creates them. This is necessary in order to them to think of themselves independent existence, a state that must be felt by them if they are to tangible exist. Maybe if the God's going to show chesed without this tzimtzum, then we'll become God's existence. He did an unbelievable chesed. That he hid himself, so to say, mitzatz himself. So now that we can feel our identity, the greatest chesed. So that's why the Gevurah is a greater chesed in a way than the chesed itself, because this Gevurah gives me and you our existence in life. The truth, however, they're utterly nullified within the soul, but ultimately both Gevurah and Chesed are totally bottled to the source. They both have the same exact agenda. That's what the Gemara says, Ein Ra Yelo Maila. Nothing evil, everything is Chesed. Ish Chesed, V'ish Chesed. These are aspects of kindness. One aspect is it's a very, as I said, it's not an easy thing to handle, but that's what it is. That's the Amunah of Yid. That's the true faith of a Jew. Today is the 14th day of the month, my dear friends, which is chapter 72 to chapter 76. If you do those chapters, you do the chitas of the day. And today, the Rebbe writes in Hayoim Yoim. Yes, the Rebbe writes as follows for the 14th day of Sivan. Putting on the talis cotton in the morning with clean hands, and in the place where a bracha may be said, recite al mitzvah tzitzis. Sata b'tzitzis is only said in the large talis. So if you're married, Chabad, we don't say a bracha on the tzitzis that we wear on us our whole day. We only make a bracha on the big talis. If one may not say the bracha, so if you're not wearing a talis gadol, you're not married, so you're not wearing a talis gadol by Chabad. Some Jews do wear talis gadol, even though they're not married. So if you don't, then you have to make a bracha on your talis cotton, on your small talis that you put in the morning. Difference is, so in the morning, you put your talis cotton right away on. So you didn't wash your hands yet. So therefore, you have to wait till you wash your hands to be able to say the bracha on the talis. You have to get out of the bathroom, whatever you're doing, you got to get dressed, be able to say the bracha. So you say the bracha after you put it on already. One may not say the bracha putting on the talis cotton, as I said, because he put on the talis cotton when he woke up. He washed his hands yet. Second time, he goes to take a shower, he goes to get dressed and everything. And before davening, so what do? Because you already said them, you already put on the talis. How you make a bracha on the tzitzis when you put it on already a half an hour. Therefore, what you have to do is you have to take the 4 tzitzis. So now you take the 4 tzitzis, you make the bracha. However, if one is wearing a large talis, no bracha is said of the talis cotton. So if you are wearing a talis gadol when you daven, you pray, you do wear a talis gadol, you don't have to make a bracha on the talis cotton, so you don't have an issue. Make a bracha when you put on. That is the way it's done. I want to wish you a beautiful and happy and healthy day. B'Yirdat Hashem. We'll see you again tomorrow, 8 a.m. 8 a.m. We'll continue to learn the chitas of the day.